Aloha, my kako. Good morning. This is the February 17th, 2022 Land Use Commission meeting, which is being held using interactive conference technology, linking video conference participants and other interested individuals of the public via the Zoom internet conferencing program to comply with state and county official operational directives during the COVID-19 pandemic. Members of the public are able to view the meeting via the Zoom webinar platform. For all members of the public and all attendees, I'd like to urge you to speak slowly, clearly, and directly into your microphone. We are taking transcripts from the recording of this meeting, so that has a couple of implications. First, it is helpful if you state your name and address, or your name before you start speaking. And secondly, please know that this meeting is being recorded and your participation is your implied consent to be part of the public record of this meeting. If you do not wish to be part of the public record, you should exit the meeting now. This technology allows the parties and each participating commissioner individual remote access to the meeting via our own internet connections and our own personal digital devices. Because of that, and often due to matters entirely outside of our control, occasional disruptions to connectivity may occur for one or more members of the meeting at any given time. If this happens, please be patient and please let us know as we try to restore audiovisual signals to be able to conduct business during the pandemic. There is one agenda item on today's agenda. It is adoption of the order related to the charter school. I will allow for public testimony related to the adoption of the order. The decision has already been made by the commission at our previous meeting to deny the permit. So testimony should be focused on our adoption of the order to implement our decision. If there's anybody who's trying to testify via phone, use the key sequence *9 to virtually raise your hand and *6 to ask to be unmuted. Otherwise, use the raise your hand function in the Zoom software. My name is Jonathan Lee K.K. Scheuer, and I have the honor and pleasure of serving as the Land Use Commission Chair. Along with me, Commissioner Don Chang, Commissioner Arnold Wong, Commissioner Ed Axon, and our Executive Officer, Daniel Oradenker, and this is all our staff really, our Chief Planner, Scott Derrickson, our Staff Planner, Riley Hakoda, and our Chief Clerk, Natasha Quinones, are all on the island of Oahu, along with our Deputy Attorney General, Julie China. Commissioner Lee Ohigashi is on Maui, and Commissioner Dan Giovanni is on the island of Kauai. We have 8 seated commissioners of a possible 9. Commissioners Gary Okuda and Nancy Cabral have recused themselves from this item. So our only remaining agenda item for the day is the adoption of the order for docket number SP 21-413, Connections New Century Public Charter School / Community-Based Education Support Services, or CBESS, to consider a form of the order, our findings of fact, conclusions of law, and decision in order to deny the special permit application for the Connections New Century Public Charter School. The commission last heard this matter on January 19th and 20th, 2022 via Zoom. During that hearing, we took public testimony on the substance of the matter. Since that time, we have also received written public testimony from Jean Zaro, the CEO of the South Maui Learning Ohana, and Taffy Wise, the Executive Director of Kalo. Ms. Quinones, has there been any additional written testimony submitted to the commission?
Good morning, Chair. This is Natasha. I want to recognize that Steve Hirakami had also submitted written testimony initially on January 31st and again yesterday or today. Okay. So that's the only one.
Okay. I will go over what our proceedings will be for today. So I've recognized written testimony. I'm going to allow for oral testimony focused on the narrow issue of our adoption of the order. I will bring people in if there's anybody who wishes to provide oral testimony after they've raised their hands. I will give you 3 minutes to testify You will then be available for questions from the parties and the commissioners. Following the conclusion of oral testimony, I'll provide the opportunity for any of the parties who may wish to address the commission before we enter deliberations. I'll provide any of the parties who wish to avail themselves of this 10 minutes. And following that, the commission will enter into formal deliberations on this matter. Let's do appearances and any clarifications if you do not understand our order today, starting with the petitioner.
Good morning, Deputy Attorney General Kevin Richardson, on behalf of applicant Connections New Century Public Charter School. Also with me is, well, on the Big Island is Principal of Connections, Romeo Garcia.
Good morning. And do you understand our procedures for today?
I do.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Ted Hong. I represent Community-Based Education Support Services, also known as CBES. I don't see that my client, Heather McDaniel or John Thatcher, the representatives from CBES, are on. And certainly we would waive their presence with the permission of the chair. Thank you. And I do understand the procedures you explained. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hong. Mr. Hong, I know John Thatcher is in as an attendee. Would you like me to promote him to be a panelist?
Yes, please.
Okay, and I apologize. You mentioned one other name, Mr. Hong.
Heather McDaniels, but I don't know that she's.
I don't believe that she is here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Hawaii County.
Good morning, Malia K. Kai for the Windward Planning Commission, and I do understand your explanation of the procedures today.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, Diana Mellon Lacey, Corporation Counsel, appearing with Jeff Darrow, Deputy Planning Director, and we do understand the procedures for today.
Thank you. Ms. Cotto.
Good morning, Allison Cotto, Deputy Attorney General for the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. Lori Maki from OPSD is also here, and I understand the procedures. Thank you.
Commissioner Wong.
Sure. You know, the Hawaii County Planning just made their statement, but it was very hard for me to hear because I'm a little older. So if she don't mind taking off her mask when she talks, it'll be better for me. Thank you.
Okay. Do I need to repeat?
If you would, if that's okay, please.
Okay.
Good.
Diana Mellon Lacey, Deputy Corporation Counsel of County of Hawaii, appearing with Jeff Darrow, Deputy Planning Director. And we do understand the procedures for today's hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mellon Lacey. I appreciate it. Are there any members of the public who wish to testify to us today? If so, use the raise your hand function. Sorry, excuse me, Kalamai, Mr. Matsukawa.
Michael Matsukawa for the intervener Jeffrey Gomes, and I understood the procedure.
Okay, and I believe your client is here with us as well.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Matsukawa. I apologize for my oversight. Are there any members of the public who wish to testify today on adoption of the order? If so, please raise your hand using the raise your hand function. There was an inquiry before in the chat. Okay, I'm going to admit Mr. Hirakami to be a panelist. When you're admitted to be a panelist, you will be able to enable your audio and video. So please do. I will then swear you in. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Okay, so if you'd state your name and address for the record and then begin.
My name is Steve Hirakami. My address is 12-4265 Pahoa Kalapana Road in Pahoa, Hawaii. I'm here. I'm the principal of Hawaii Academy of Arts and Science, a charter school located in Pahoa, dedicated to taking care of the environment. And I want to testify to have you not adopt the order to deny the permit and send it back for further review. I really see a win-win situation with this piece of land. I know the land in question is the one bordering the subdivision, but that is a native forest, and the students of Connection could be forest stewards, and they could remove endangered species. They could protect the environment for all the native birds. They could be docents for the Kaumana Cave and demonstrate the restoration and the preservation of an important part of Hawaii. We're losing a lot of our forests in urban areas. So I know the bottom half is where they want to build a school. I think the complaint is there's a natural border between the subdivision and Kaumana Drive and the backyard. And a lot of times when people buy properties next to state land, they think, oh, wow, you know, I've got an extension on my property and I got to view it. So I can understand why they don't want it developed, but I certainly could think that the school could turn this into a real win-win for the community, for the subdivision owners, and for generally for Hawaii. We need to teach our kids about environmental stewardship and taking care of the AINA and everything. And I see a perfect learning opportunity too. And this is about education. It all starts with our children. And I think it's very important that these kind of opportunities don't go to wayside because a subdivision thinks that somebody's going to come and eradicate the forest behind their lot. So I really implore you to not adopt this order, send it back so that there can be more discussion about dividing the upper part. There's it's 70-something acres. I know there's 30-something acres on the upper part that goes all the way up to Kaumana Cave. That could be a beautiful place for kids to be docents and be guides in the forest and to explain how they preserve the forest. You know, when this 2018 lava flow decimated our community, our kids became docents at the Lava Museum, and they're important part of telling the tourists and visitors alike how the volcano affected their lives. They lost their homes, and you know, the Jaggi Museum donated a lot of artifacts to the museum so they can be docents. So I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hirakami. If you'd please just remain online to see if there's any questions for you from any of the parties. Starting with Mr. Richardson.
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Hong.
No questions, thank you.
Ms. Kekai.
No questions, thank you.
County Planning. County Planning, any questions for the witness? Hawaii County Planning, can you hear me? Are there any questions for the witness?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Matsukawa.
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Commissioners, any questions for the witness? Thank you very much for taking the time to testify before us today, and thank you for your work. We appreciate it. I'm going to move you to be an attendee. Are there any other members of the public who wish to testify on adoption of the order? If so, please raise your hand using the raise your hand function. I don't see anybody calling in by phone. Seeing none. Before the commission enters into formal deliberations and adoption of the order, I will provide the opportunity to any of the parties to address the commission, and I will give the parties up to 10 minutes to do so. We'll go in the same order, and you don't have to avail yourselves of it, but you can if you wish. Beginning with Mr. Richardson.
Thank you. I just had one matter of clarification. Was a draft order provided? I didn't receive one, but was one sent out or provided prior to this meeting?
A a draft order was sent to two of the entities who requested the order. It was only completed. It was in draft form for quite a while with our council. It was only completed last night.
Okay, thank you. No other questions or comments?
Okay. Mr. Hong.
I would note for the record that we received the proposed or draft order at 4:39, approximately 4:39 p.m. yesterday. And I did have the opportunity to review it. And at this stage of the proceedings, I think we would submit that our objections and opposition with respect to some of the errors contained in the draft order are very clear on the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hong. Ms. Kekai.
Good morning, Commission. I think the only thing of concern is basically that the Commission is finding that a school is not an unusual use or a reasonable use, I'm sorry, which would be concerning for Hawaii Island, as we have a lot of ag land and you know, we're probably trending towards building more agricultural schools here. So it's a little worrisome if a school that is truly ag, a fully ag school, can then not apply for a special permit when surrounded by ag as well. So I feel like it's a little limiting, but that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. County Planning.
Diana Mellon Lacey, we have no comments at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Kato, OPSD.
Thank you. No further comments from OPSD.
Thank you. Mr. Matsukawa.
Yes, just a comment on the county's statement. The county general plan notes that there are large tracts of public land in the county of Hawaii, but there is no known master plan on the part of the LNR, the owner of those properties, as to the proposed long-term uses. So if that's a factor of concern, then the DLNR should be approached to develop that master plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matsukawa. Having received statements, I'm now going to move into formal deliberations. Before we take up any motion, the chair would like to confirm for the record that all of the commissioners and myself are prepared to participate in these proceedings. Commissioner Chang, are you prepared to participate?
Mr. Chair, yes, I am.
Commissioner Wong?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I am ready.
Commissioner Ohigashi?
Yes.
Commissioner Giovanni?
Yes.
Commissioner Axon?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Chair is also prepared to participate. Commission will now consider the adoption of the order. Commissioners, before you, for your consideration, deliberation, and adoption are the proposed findings of fact, conclusions of law, and decision and order prepared by staff as instructed at the last meeting on this docket. Is there any discussion, or does somebody wish to enter in a motion? Commissioner Axon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning. I'd like to make a motion for the Land Use Commission to adopt the proposed decision and order denying special permit on SP 21-413 Connections New Century Public Charter School and Community-Based Education Support Services brought by County of Hawaii Windward Planning Commission.
Is there a second? Commissioner Ohigashi.
I will second that.
Okay. Does the movant and the seconder wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, not too much. I believe that commission heard and the commission's decision was based on records provided by the county. And I believe the draft decision order covered all the covered the record.
Thank you. Commissioner Higashi.
No comment, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Commissioners, we have a motion before us made by Commissioner Axon and seconded by Commissioner Higashi. Is there discussion? Commissioner Chang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a few comments. I greatly appreciated Mr. Hirakami's testimony this morning. I do want to be clear that as far as I'm concerned, the Land Use Commission's decision and action today does not preclude the charter school from meeting with the community to address some of the concerns, as well as looking at the Land Use Commission's order and addressing those concerns as well, and resubmitting or preparing a new proposal that addresses all these concerns to move forward. Because I think the commission did, at least I felt I made the motion last meeting with a heavy heart, knowing that education and in particular agriculture is important in Hawaii Island. So I do encourage the school, if they're still interested, to pursue it after review in consideration of our order. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Chang. Commissioners, is there further discussion? I'll just second or join in Commissioner Chang's remarks about having a heavy heart. I'm nearing the end of 8 years on this commission, and I have not had, I found this to be one of the most frustrating dockets that we've dealt with. Mr. Ordenko, would you please poll the commission?
Mr. Chair, the motion is to adopt the proposed DNO decision and order denying the special permit in this matter. Commissioner Axon.
Aye.
Commissioner Higashi.
Yes.
Commissioner Giovanni.
Aye.
Commissioner Chang.
Aye.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
Chair Schroeder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, the motion passes unanimously with 6 votes.
Thank all the parties for your participation in this matter. There being no further business for the commission, I declare this meeting adjourned.